Hey, this is Aditya from LightHaven. Today we are going to be working on some tri-V based knife combinations. I'm first going to show you the combinations in the air, and then I'm going to show you how we apply them against a partner. So make sure you watch this video all the way to the end. First, let's just quickly go through what the three combinations are. If the knife is in my right hand with my right leg forward, the first combination is a diagonal angle 1, a diagonal angle 2, and another angle 2. So I'm going from 1 o'clock to 7 o'clock, 11 o'clock to 5 o'clock, a small follow through, because remember this is knife, I cannot have the big follow through that I would have with a stick. A small follow through into again angle 2 going from 11 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Combination 2 starts with an angle 1, a horizontal slash, and a diagonal angle 2 slash. So one more time, from 1 to 7 o'clock, that's my first angle 1. Then from 3 to 9 o'clock, depends on the target. If you want to cut across the stomach, if you want to cut across higher, you can do that, but it's a horizontal backhand slash, and then small follow through into my angle 2 diagonal slash, which is 11 o'clock down to 5 o'clock. Lastly, my third combination is an angle 1, a reverse diagonal angle 4, and an angle 2. So 1 to 7 o'clock, a reverse diagonal 7 o'clock to 1 o'clock, and angle 2 diagonal from 11 o'clock down to 5 o'clock. A quick disclaimer, all these three combinations are going to be slashing based combinations. You can of course substitute a lot of these slashes for thrusts, but for the sake of this video, we're going to stick to the slashing application and slashing based versions of these combinations. Let's first quickly go over the principles that we're talking about. This is a good step-by-step way of me to learn what are the things that I want to do, what I should not do, what I can do, and all of the options that I may have or may not have, and all of the options that he may or may not have. So let's just start with what the problems are. The main problem is of course his knife. I know I cannot step straight because that knife is there, that knife is there. And I know that regardless of what I may be doing to him, he can also be cutting me, stabbing me, attacking me. So my first target, and you hear this spoken about in Filipino martial arts all the time, defying the snake, my first target is dealing with his weapon and his weapon hand. But we're going to be a little bit more nuanced. In step number 1, when I'm talking about dealing with his weapon or his weapon hand, I am talking about getting past that weapon. I would like to end up behind his weapon. So if he's giving me an angle 1 more time, I am parrying and getting behind that weapon, right? Now, there is a reason why I would end up here and why I don't want to end up here. I'd rather end up here because from here I have isolated one side and I can work on controlling this weapon arm. While I am working to get past this weapon, I want to try and maximize the amount of damage and offense that I can do. So as I'm trying to pass this weapon, I'm also going to try and cut that hand. The priority is the parry or the passing of the weapon. The cutting of the hand is just the cherry on top of it. So the first step is getting past that weapon while trying to cut that hand. The second step is again attacking that weapon, but with a view to controlling the knife wielding arm. So I can control it. Generally, I'm looking to control it from the elbow. I'm looking to either trap it against his side or control just below the triceps, so I can push him or lift or whatever, but I'm trying to control that elbow to try and control that arm. So first step is getting past the weapon, trying to attack it. Second step is again attacking the hand but trying to control the arm at the same time. And the third step is going to be your finishing strike. Let's see how these principles are expressed through the three combinations that we have with the knife. So the first combination was a diagonal, circular. All of them were slashes. So let's say Siddharth is giving me a angle 1. I'm going to be stepping 45 degrees as I parry. As I parry, I'm also going to be slashing with that angle 1. So he's giving me an angle 1. One more time, I'm stepping and I'm cutting. From here, now I don't like to imagine or think or be under the illusion that just because I've cut his hand, he's going to magically drop the knife. Oftentimes it may not happen. I want to be ready for a follow-up, any kind of backhand following up attack that he might give me. So right now let's go angle 1, angle 2. So he gives me a slash, I step outside, 1 second, with that cut as I parry, That's my first angle 1. Now second angle 2 is going to be as that comes, that's my cut and jam. Remember we spoke about jamming that elbow, so that's my angle 2, and then I can come back for another angle 2. So that becomes angle 1, angle 2, angle 2. One more time, he gives me an angle 1 and an angle 2, 1, 2, 2 with the jam at the elbow to control. The second application is going to be again very similar. All three of these applications are based on me going to the outside. I can also do these applications with me coming to the inside, but then that becomes a little bit more complicated, and there are a lot more ifs and buts and what ifs involved with that. Going to the outside is a safer way of doing it, and is a good place to start exploring the applications of these combinations. So he's going to give me an angle 1 and he's going to give me an angle 2. So I go again, cut and parry to the outside. Now as that angle 2 comes, I have a couple of options. Either I, again same thing that I was doing, except instead of going diagonal, I am going horizontal. Now this could be for a few reasons. Maybe I am not too sure as to the angle that he's giving me. If it's coming a diagonal backhand or a horizontal backhand, I am not too sure. So I am just going to cut right across it with a horizontal, so that anything that's coming from that side, I am going to cut it, whether at the forearm, whether at the tricep, I am going to cut everything across it. So one more time, he gives me an angle 1 and a backhand, boom, that's me cutting. All the while I am looking to jam. Now I am looking to have my entire forearm against him to jam. Let's say he gives me an angle 1 and a horizontal. Angle 1, bang, that's me jamming that elbow, sticking and shoving it into his body as I cut. That can become my last slash. From here, of course, I can control that wrist, or I can do something else. I can go in with a thrust. There are many options I have from here. One more time, he gives me a diagonal and a horizontal. 1, bang, bang. So in the air, my hand is going 1. So cut and parry, jam. Either depending on where I'm jamming, my knife can be below or my knife can be on top. It really depends about where I am jamming. And then I continue with my last slash. The last combination was a diagonal, reverse diagonal, and a diagonal slash. Now again, I am doing everything stepping to the outside. And again, I am sticking only to slashes. A lot of these combinations work really well when you have a thrust involved. But that again complicates things a little bit more. And having all slashes is a good place to begin before we start adding thrusts in there. However, full disclosure, a lot of these combinations work better where instead of coming back with a slash, we're coming back with a thrust. So the third combination, he's going to give me a diagonal and a diagonal. So again, I'm going to step out and parry and cut. Now the next one, as that comes, whether again it could be any backhand from here, backhand from here, I am going to jam with my, if you're familiar with knife tapping, this would be a familiar movement. If you're not, I'm going across. So I'm going across him. My palm is facing my face, and as I go across, this is going to come up. And from here, that's my last cut. So one more time, slowly. 1, 2, 3. Again, I'm looking to control the elbow and jam it into his body. One more time. 1, 2, 3. The first thing to keep in mind is where is my parrying hand or jamming hand in relation to my knife. So what I mean by that is in the first parry and cut, my knife is below my hand because my hand needs to parry on the wrist, and thus my knife has to be below it. Now in the second one, if I'm going reverse diagonal, if I'm going diagonal angle 2, then my knife is going to come just before my hand. So it's a following motion. Nothing's happening at the same time. In the second one, when I'm going horizontal, a lot depends on where I am jamming. Am I jamming by the wrist? Am I jamming by the elbow? And I need to adapt accordingly. So if I'm jamming by the wrist, because maybe I want to let this pass, maybe I want to let this pass across from me and go to the inside, then I will be parrying by the wrist and cutting their forearm. However, if I am jamming higher up, I might want to go cut that neck directly instead of cutting their hand. Or if I am jamming higher up, that knife might be below my hand in the horizontal cut, and then I come back with that diagonal cut. If I am doing the reverse diagonal, which is the third one, again it's same. That angle 2 is coming. I am jamming by the elbow, so I am cutting underneath that hand because there's no space up here. And a reverse diagonal to his head would look really would not work so well. So please be very cognizant, very careful of where both your hands are placed when you're doing the parrying motion. The next thing is control. Now when I mean control, I mean momentary control. This is not a position that you can hold him in, because there are some very simple things that he can do. If he tries to reach me with his knife, reach me with your knife, he cannot do that, but now he can do two things. One is he slides the elbow out, he can do that, or he can just step away, and if I am not careful, that knife is suddenly going to be free again. So understand that this control is momentary, it's just enough for you to be able to follow up with whatever it is that you're going to follow up with. Also understand that I am looking to control from here to here, from his under his tricep to just below his elbow. This is the area that I'm looking to control. Below this, he can bend his elbow and do a bunch of stuff. Above this, the hand is free and he can still turn and twist and stab. The last thing is understanding the importance of footwork. Standing here, this is coming to me, I may be able to parry it, but because I'm right in front of him, this whatever is the secondary attack is going to reach me a lot faster than if I am stepping offline. Now it's going to take a little bit longer to reach. Also, in case my parry screws up, my footwork brings me in a position where I'm off center line and out of the way of his attack. And that's why footwork, even in this, like in everything else weapon oriented, is still king. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, if you learned from what you saw, please do like and share this video. Please do subscribe to the channel. All of these things really do help out the school and the channel a lot. A huge thank you to all of our patrons. Thank you so much for your support. If you would like to know more about our Patreon page and the exclusive content that we offer there, check out the link in the description I'm going to leave down below. Lastly, both our online classes and our residential program are up and running. So to train with us from wherever you are in the world or to come visit us here in Goa, check out the email address I'm going to leave in the link down below. Thank you guys so much for watching and see you in the next video.